have another manga haul to share today, as well as some pin mail and some manhwa that I recently received from my Korean proxy. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through everything, and I will have timestamps below if you want to jump around to anything else. So first I have this shonen series, Kaiju number 8, volume 10. I'm just gradually collecting this series as the physical volumes are releasing. I am a little behind on the series, but I have been reading it on the Shonen Jump app. I think I've read through volume 12, I think that's how much is out in the digital chapters. But I really enjoyed this series. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world where these monsters, kaiju, come into cities and attack, and there is a group of people who fight against the kaiju to protect the inhabitants. I'm really excited there was recently an announcement for the side story spinoff that focuses on Hoshina, Kaiju number 8 B-side, and I'm really looking forward to having that copy. I have read a few of the chapters on the Shonen Jump app, but I'm not caught up on that one yet either. But really happy to have this one now. And I am really excited, even though I've read this whole thing digitally, I am looking forward to when I go back and do a reread from the beginning to read through my physical copies. Next is Snow White with the Red Hair, volume 26. I'm really happy to have this volume because it's the last release before the mangaka went on hiatus, and I just really hope that she's okay. I don't really know the circumstances, but this is a hiatus that was announced without an end scheduled, so this is what we've got for now. It's been a while since I've read this series. I am caught up. I did read the latest chapter releases when they were released in Japan. And honestly, if this series doesn't continue past this volume, or if it takes a really long time before it does continue, I'll be satisfied because where it left off is at a pretty satisfying point where it's not in the middle of any drama. It's in between arcs where a lot of things have been resolved, so I will be happy and satisfied with these 26 volumes, but I do hope that it will continue as I do really love this world. It's a historical set series following these two main characters. The female lead is an herbalist, and the male lead is part of the royal family in the neighboring kingdom. But now that I have all of these volumes, all the ones that are currently released in Japan, I'm looking forward to doing a reread and just starting from the beginning again and reading the series. I've got a couple more shoujo series. So next is Rainbow Days Volume 10. This one is just gradually releasing, and I'm picking up the volumes. I haven't been reading as the volumes are releasing because they've been releasing pretty fast, and I'm really looking forward to just reading straight through and enjoying the full story. This one is complete at 16 volumes in Japan, so we're over the halfway point. I'm really excited. This is a series that I have already read before, and I really like the anime as well. It follows 4 high school boys that each have different romances that they want to pursue, and all of them being just so different when it comes to their personalities. But I just really like this series, and I'm really happy that it got picked up and that they've been releasing the volumes pretty quickly, but can't wait to have this series fully complete in my collection. Next is A Condition Called Love, Volume 8. Really like this series. It follows these two high schoolers as they try to navigate a romance together. For the female lead, it's her first relationship, and for him, he has a bit of an obsessive personality, and so he is constantly trying to find the balance so that he won't come across too strong. But they're both such sweet characters. I really like them both. This one is ongoing still in Japan, so I'm not sure how long it's going to end up being. We're at volume 8 now in English. I think in Japan they're at volume 15, and I'm not completely caught up right now. I think I've read into volume 14, but the English digital release is right behind the Japanese release, so I'm glad that they're getting the volumes out pretty quickly since they already have the volumes translated and formatted for the digital release, so then they just are getting them printed for us. So A Condition Called Love. This one did just get an anime recently, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm really looking forward to watching it because I just really like this series, and I watched the trailer and I like the voice cast, but I've been waiting for it to finish so that I can just watch it straight through rather than having to wait weekly for the episodes to release. So planning to get into that soon. Next is Tsubaki-chou Lonely Planet Volume 7. I love this series. I really like Mika Yamamori. This is another one that I'm just picking up the volumes as they release, and I'm planning to do a full read-through once I have all the volumes. This one's complete at 14 volumes in Japan, so we're halfway there. I feel like this series has been releasing really slowly. For example, Rainbow Days released Volume 1. These two series both released their Volume 1s within a few weeks of each other, but this one's already at Volume 10, and this one, Volume 7, just released. So I wish it would release a little faster, but I'm just happy that it got an English release, and that Yen Press has been doing such a good job with the print release, and just the volumes look really nice. But that said, I was told by a friend on Instagram before I received my copy, and then I noticed as soon as I got my copy, that the Volume 7 was a bit shorter than the rest of the volumes. So Yen Press has been really good with their quality control for all the other series that I own from them. So I was kind of surprised looking at Volumes 1 to 7. It wasn't just all the same height and then 7 was a little short. They just kind of were a little wonky, which I really hope that they'll get on their quality control and get things back the way that they have been up to this point, because we really don't need another Kodansha where every series they release just is every volume a different height. So anyways, really looking forward to rereading this series when I get the rest of the volumes in. It's been about a year and a half, or just over a year and a half, since Volume 1 released, so if we're at the halfway point now, then I'm guessing it's going to be another year and a half, 2 years before we complete the series. But this one is a romance series. It does have an age gap pairing in it, but this is the female lead. She is such a sweet girl, very mature. At the start of the series, we find out that her family is in some debt, and her father is going to be traveling far away to take a job that will make him some more money, and so she begins to live and work as a housekeeper for this historical novelist. But I just really enjoy the conversations in this series and the themes of loneliness. It has been a while since I've done a full read-through of it, so I'm really looking forward to rereading it. Next, I have 5 volumes from a 6-volume series, Candy Color Paradox, Volumes 1 to 6, but I am missing Volume 2. So I just recently did a buddy read with a friend on Instagram of this series, and I really enjoyed it. It's a workplace romance that follows 2 reporters. One is like a journalist, he writes the reports, and the other is a photographer that takes the photos for the reports. But I just really appreciate the comedy in it. I laughed a lot while I was reading. And I honestly was trying to decide while I was reading if I would want to collect this series and add it to my physical collection. I am a big fan of this mangaka, and while I do like some of her works, the only thing that I have in my collection before buying this series is her fan book, and then some of the doujinshi that she's written for 2 One Piece characters that I like, Zoro and Sanji. So I find it really funny that my first piece of her work in my collection was her doujinshi titles. So glad to have some of her official work now. So this is currently at 6 volumes in English and in Japan as well, Volume 6. But it is ongoing. She did have multiple series serializing at the same time, but the other one she was working on did just finish. So I'm hoping now with that off her plate, she'll be able to put a little more attention to Candy Color Paradox, and hopefully we'll get a Volume 7 sooner than later. But happy to have this in my collection now. I did buy these 5 volumes when I was in the city recently, And the reason why I bought them in person rather than ordering them online and getting more of a discount is because I was told by a friend that a lot of these volumes have alignment issues, and so if I bought it in person, I would be able to hand select them. Unfortunately, the store that I went to didn't have a volume 2, so I'm hoping when I do order the volume 2 that it will match, but I'm happy that these ones, as you can see, align along the numbers, and I'm looking forward to having volume 2 so that I can have this full series so far and not be missing any. Next is a manhwa series, a business proposal volume 5. If I remember correctly, I think this is a 10-volume series, but it follows this girl, this main character, who works at an office and agrees to attend a marriage meeting blind date in place of her friend, who is just not interested in that, so that she can go and reject the person. And it turns out that the person that she meets is her boss. Not just her boss, the CEO of her company. So then from that point on, there's a lot of silly comedy about her just being ridiculous, and it's pretty funny. I have read this series digitally and overall enjoyed it. There were some things about it that I didn't like, but then the things that I did like, I really liked. So one of those things being the male lead. He's so handsome, but I've been really impressed with this release. It's been really consistent with the release schedule, but then also just the volumes are super nice. Really colorful, and just the quality, they just feel really good. And just like almost everything else in this haul so far, this is another one that I'm waiting for more of the series to come out so that I can do a reread and be able to just read straight through it. So halfway there now with volume 5. The last manga that I have is Tokyo Revengers, the new omnibus volume that covers volumes 21 and 22. So this is omnibus 11. I really hate that he got the volume cover or the omnibus cover. This one was the other choice, but they gave it to Kisuke, who, if you're not reading or watching the series, is the antagonist. So anyways, I'm really happy that I have another volume. This one I was reading each omnibus as it released, and then I fell behind, and again, just like the other volumes, I'm waiting for a little more to come out, and then I'm going to do another partial binge of the volumes that I haven't reread yet. I have read this whole series. I'm a big fan of it. It follows a bunch of middle school and high school age boys that are part of gangs as they have different conflicts with each other. And then the main character at the very start of the series is an adult, but then somehow manages to travel through time back to his middle school days to try to prevent a tragic thing from happening that we see at the beginning of the series. But it's just such an exciting journey, and I have a lot of characters that I really like in this series, so plugging away with this one. It is complete at 31 volumes, so I'm assuming we'll have 4 more omnibus volumes and then a half volume. Or not a half volume, but just a regular sized volume for the volume 31. But then also with this 7 Seas release, I'm really impressed. Just the books have been so nice with every release. Just the print quality, the paper quality, the binding, the covers and spines just looking really nice and being the same height. I just am really happy with these omnibus volumes. But this is all for the manga. I do have a bit of manhwa that I got from Korea recently that I'm going to go through. But before I do, I'm going to go through some of my pin mail. It's mostly Sanji, but a couple other items as well. So first, I have this Toji pin from Jujutsu Kaisen. This iconic scene of him eating takoyaki. So I got this one secondhand. I didn't even know about it until after the pin was in production, but then I was able to find a secondhand listing pretty quickly. But it's really cute. It's a, I think, soft enamel pin, but I'm happy that I found a listing for him. Next, I have a couple of Chibi Sanji pins that are super cute, really little. These are both from the same pin maker, and I thought they were going to be the same size, but this one is a little bigger. But they're very cute. So Sanji in his suit, and then Sanji in his Egghead Island outfit. And then a spicy Sanji pin of him in a little bunny suit. He doesn't have ears though, but I really like this pin. This is one that I pre-ordered. I wanted to support the project as soon as I found out about it. But there were a few different variants that they were selling with, I think, a different color bunny suit. And then they had a few other Sanji pins, but this is the one I wanted the most. But I'm really happy with it. I really like the swirl effect, the pearl swirl in his outfit. And his face looks really cute. So I'm satisfied. And then next I have 4 pins from the same pin maker, all from the same pin maker. First is this Poneglyph pin. They were selling blue ones and then red ones, and then they had a secret variant as well. I'm not sure if the secret variant was a different color or if it was a different type of metal. But I kind of got this one really impulsively because it was really exciting when they announced it and the way that they did the pre-order release. So I just jumped in and went ahead and snagged one, and unfortunately, this doesn't really have a place in my collection because I don't think it really fits in on my Sanji board, and I thought about giving it to my husband because he likes Robin, and these are really important items to Robin in the series, but he's not a pin collector, so this would be super random for him to just have on his shelf. So I don't think I'll be hanging on to this one, so hopefully someone who missed this drop will be able to take it off my hands. But then the other 3 pins by this pin maker are these 3 squiggly Sanjis. They're so cute. I'm so grateful to a couple of my friends who helped me get a couple of these. So I snagged this navy blue one, and then my friend Cadence Collects here on YouTube, snagged this lavender one for me, and then another friend on Instagram got this rose gold one. Some of the pin drops are just like cutthroat, just trying to check out as fast as you can, and then at checkout realizing that it has sold out while you were clicking. So I'm really glad to have these ones now. I'll hold them up one at a time just to show the details. So this one was a purple chrome lavender. I love the different shades of purple with the chrome and then his suit. It was hard to tell how exactly things would look because at pre-order there were just like little drawings with color fill. So I just hoped that they would turn out nicely, and they did. And then the navy, which has like a silver, I don't know if it's silver or black nickel. I think it's silver because it's lighter. But this is a design that had a release last year or the year before, and it was before I was collecting pins, so I missed it. So I was really happy when the pin maker announced that they were gonna not re-release the ones that they had already done, but then some new colors, not really a new design because it's the same, but new colors. And then the rose gold with the pink dress shirt. So really happy that I managed to secure these ones. Okay, so that's it for my pins. And then I already went through my manga. So now on to my Korean Manhwa Haul. But before I get into these volumes, I have 7 volumes to go through from 5 series. But in addition to these, I did get some additional merch for some of these series, but then also from other series. I'll put a picture up on the screen of some of the goods that I got and a list of some of the series that those merch items were from. So when I got this Korean proxy order in the mail, I did a live unboxing on Instagram, and I did save that live in my reels. But if you want to see all of the paper goods and merch that I got from that haul, go and check that out on my Instagram. I got prints and a couple box sets with different paper goods for Dangerous Convenience Store, Wet Sand, Smyrna and Capri, Legs That Won't Walk, and a few others. But I've already sorted all that stuff and have it tucked in different places in storage as well as on display on my shelves. So I didn't want to hunt down all of the individual pieces and instead just thought I would go ahead and share the books that I got. And again, if you want to see the unboxing or just the merch items as I went through them one by one, check them out on my Instagram reels. So the first one I have here is Yakuza Fiance Raisei wa Tanagai Volume 7. So the Korean release had a variant cover, and I really wanted to have it in my collection because it's such a cute cover. It is a young Yoshino and Shoma on a bicycle together. Very precious. And this one is a double-sided dust jacket with the regular Volume 7 cover. But I'm really happy that I found a copy of this because they were no longer selling them new whenever I realized that I did in fact want to have a copy of it. I'm really jealous of other language publishers. Of course, this is a Japanese series and then this is the Korean release of it. But the Korean publisher having this variant cover release with the reversible dust jacket, but then the French release, an upcoming volume release, they're also doing a reversible dust jacket with, I don't think it's volume 7, maybe volume 8 or 9. They're doing a special edition with a reversible dust jacket with this illustration, as well as the booklet that came with the Japanese special edition of volume 2, which we haven't gotten in English, the booklet or a variant cover, so who knows, maybe Seven Seas will decide to do a variant cover for volume 8 or 9. Who knows, but happy to have this one now. The next is a manhwa series, Windbreaker. I got volume 22. This series follows a group of high schoolers that are really into cycling, and they each have different motivations because they come from different backgrounds. But Vinny is my favorite character, and I wanted to have one of the volumes with him on the cover. I am a little behind on the series right now, but I do really like this series. And I honestly have no idea how popular it is, like if we would ever get an English physical release of it, but if we do, I would definitely want to have it in my collection. I just really appreciate a lot of characters. I find the comedy really good. I really like the art style for the depiction of movement when the characters are racing. It's just really, really dynamic. The antagonists in this series are just the most despicable people, but then I think it contributes really well to the story. So this is my one piece of Windbreaker in my collection, and I'll just be hoping that maybe one day we'll get it in English. Next, I have 3 volumes of a Leshin series that I read a few months ago and just really enjoyed. Legs That Won't Walk. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. So after I read this series, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I wanted to collect some merch because I just really enjoyed the story and decided to pick up these volumes, even though they're in Korean, because they were released with exclusive photo cards and prints. So I wanted to get my hands on those. This is another one that if they end up releasing the series in English, if someone licenses it, I am a bit hopeful because there are some resin titles that have gotten English releases recently. But if this series does get an English release, I will be planning on picking it up. But in the meantime, I have the Korean volumes to represent the series on my shelves. But the series is complete. It follows this guy as the main character who has been working as a boxer and because of injuries is forced to retire, and after his retirement finds out that his relatives had taken on debt and put it under his name, so at that point he is responsible for paying this debt to these gangsters that show up to enforce that it gets repaid. So at the start of the series, I thought that's a little cliche because that is a common trope in manhwa, but I really, really liked how the story was written. My favorite character in the series is Tae-sung. He's the head of the gangster organization with this guy working for him as well. As you can see from the little red bars along the top, this is a mature rated series, so not for everyone, but it is completed, so it is all available to be read in English on lesson. All right, 2 more books to go. So this one is really exciting. I was so relieved that I found out about it as it was happening so that I could get a copy. But this is from the series, The Dangerous Convenience Store for the Dream. This was actually crowdfunded through Tumblebug by the creator of Dangerous Convenience Store. To get the side story chapters published in book form, because the official Korean release just has the main story. It doesn't have the final 8 chapters of side stories. So I was really happy and excited that I was able to back this project and get a copy of it. So this is a mature series, the side stories as well after the main story. But I was really happy when I got my copy and saw that there were additional illustrations mixed in after the chapters. There is a bit of bonus content at the end in addition to this. A little bucket list of things they'd like to do. But it's just very cute. Really excited to have this now. Even though it's in Korean, I will just plan to read the side story chapters digitally, but it's kind of special to have been able to support this project and to have a physical copy of it. And then the last volume that I got in my proxy order was volume 1 of Work-Love Balance, which is the spin-off series to On or Off, following the same main characters, Daehyung and Yeang. So this spin-off is currently in season 2 right now. So volume 1 covered all of the first season. And I wanted to buy this volume because it was released with a lot of different merch exclusives as well as retailer exclusives. That just feels like it's a direct continuation after On or Off. It hasn't been picked up yet by Tokyopop, which is the publisher who is printing On or Off. I really hope it gets picked up so that we'll get an English release of it as well. But until then, I'm just glad that I have a physical copy of it. I'm still waiting to find out if On or Off is going to get a Volume 5 release because the series doesn't end with Volume 4. But I'm hoping that we'll find out about that 5th volume as well as Work-Love Balance maybe getting an English release in the future. Because I just really love these characters and I am looking forward to seeing how their relationship and their story unfolds as we get into season 2 of Work-Love Balance. These are all my goods this time around. A bunch of manga, a manga in Korean, some manhwa, as well as a crowdfunded book of bonus content from the Dangerous Convenience Store. I'm so glad I was able to get a copy of it. A lot of hopes. I just have a lot of hopes about some of these series getting English licenses, but I guess we'll see. But for now, I'm just really excited to have these items in my collection now, as well as my pins that are off screen. But I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm not really sure what I have on the way next. I think just mainly English pre-order volumes as they come in. I do already have another order from my Korean proxy, but it is waiting on a pre-ordered item, so not sure yet when I'll ship that one. I also have a few items on the way to my Japan proxy that I had pre-ordered, so that one is still going to be about a month and a half away before I consolidate that order. So not sure yet what I'm going to have next to share with you guys, but hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.